Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome back to another video. In this video, it's a tag response video because EquilibriumGaming tagged me for the video that he originally did a response to, and he did a response originally to Synicalenigma's top 5 Super Nintendo / Famicom NES carts tag. Now, this is very hard to limit down. I just went with the Super Nintendo. 5 of my favorite top games. I could go with, the more popular games. I could go with Super Mario World. I could have gone with Super Metroid. I could have gone with Super Castlevania 4. All the games that I loved playing, but the first game that I had to put on this list would be Chrono Trigger. A game I absolutely loved. A game I played over and over again on my Super Nintendo. It was just, I don't know, there was just something great about that game. I mean, I just loved the artwork, the art style, everything about that game was just fun. I mean, the funny thing is, RPGs back then, they were all a little different, and that was just something that stuck out different than everything else, and I absolutely loved that game. The next game would have to be on my list would be Donkey Kong Country. Because when Nintendo first announced they brought Donkey Kong back, being somebody who loved Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3, I was happy. And when you saw those screenshots of that game, they looked amazing, just amazing. And then when you actually played the game, that game graphically was, at the time, you're like, wow, I can't believe they got this, the graphics, Rare got the graphics they got in this game. And it was just such a fun and great game, even though it was hard. I played that game over and over again until I beat it. It was just a great game. And how they expanded the Donkey Kong world. The next one on this list, ironically enough, even though I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy II, is probably one of my favorite RPGs of all time, I had to put Final Fantasy III on this list. Because when I was in the Navy, I had this game, and I happened to get a roommate who had never played a Super Nintendo before. And he tried all my games, and he got to Final Fantasy III, and he fell in love with that game. And every hour, waking hour he had off, he played that game over and over. He grinded and he grinded. And when he was playing that game, it inspired me to play that game more, because I hadn't beat the game at that point. And eventually I made it to the end, and you had that, that multiple stage boss at the end of that game. And it was kind of frustrating, but I finally beat that boss. Final Fantasy III is just one of the games I love. The next game is by Koi, that's on this list, and it's Gemfire, which was a you might call it military strategy game, because the guy who now is my sister's husband, they were dating at the time, and I had just gotten this game, and we sat down to play this game, and we didn't know each other really well at the time, and we started playing this game, and we both picked each side of the map, and we both just eventually went across the whole map. It was more like a square of the map was in this game, and we went across the whole map, and eventually we got to just us. And every weekend we would sit down all night long playing this game until eventually it was both of us. And in the end, he did beat me. He eventually overpowered me in the game, but had a lot of fun playing that game. And then the last game I have to put on this list is Gradius 3. A game I fell in love with in the arcade, and a game I fell in love with the Super Nintendo. I just love that shooter. The way as you get the little little orange things, you could buy certain power-ups in the game and just go along the game. It was just, I just loved that game. So that has to be my top 5 Super Nintendo games. There were a lot of other games I could add, but for me, just looking at the list, those are the 5 games that stood out. So that's my list, guys. So until I make another video.